Welcome to Backline Banter, episode 12, I believe, and today we have got a good one indeed. International break is over. We are back in the Premier League. You'll love to see it with game week 30 happening. Some big games, one in particular, Arsenal v City, but of course, we'll get into that later on. We'll, of course, have the Premier League summary today. I don't think we're going to do deep dive. I might just talk about that in the Liverpool experience. And possibly, I haven't really thought about it this far. I've just gone, bang, let's get straight into it. We might have a top 10 as well, or blind ranking, depending on what the title says. So before I start as well, big announcement. You may have seen, you may have not. If you enjoy this podcast, then we also have a YouTube channel as well. So if you search up Backline Banter, or I'll chuck it in the description of this podcast episode here, and you'll see me talking about the European prediction competition episode thingy. That is great English, but I did an episode on there. Of course, there is also that same episode in just an audio form. But, you know, if you want to be a bit more entertained, I guess, and just, I don't know, I just thought bring something extra, and I want to try and integrate, you know, these podcasts into video forms, but it just takes a bit extra time, and I'm getting my head around all the editing. So there's definitely more of it to come. But for now, we'll just stick with the audio. You'll have a video every now and then, but we'll see big things in the works. And I mean, I'm saying that all the time now, I feel like, but I'm just so excited about this. You know, I love doing it. It's going to help me in the future. So yeah, if you do enjoy this, then go over to the YouTube channel, click the subscribe button, and yeah, just search up Backline Banter, should pop up, and yeah, enjoy. So today's episode, we will start off with the Liverpool experience. Of course, I like to talk about the Liverpool game first most of the time because, you know, it kind of gets me flowing because I'm talking about it and I know a lot about it. So, you know, I'm not just reading off my phone on some chances and I just go ... You know, I'm flowing, you know, it's good. And I'm in a good mood because, yeah, just before, like I said, I posted a video on the YT channel, and then I've also got the podcast of that as well. So we're cooking at the moment, you could say. It's going well, and yeah, no, like I said, I'm loving it. So yeah, the Liverpool versus Brighton game, that did end 2-1 to us, of course. A game where, of course, we know we have to win. We've got to win every game from now on, get as many points as we can, because we can't afford to drop them, or Arsenal will catch up to us, or City will. So it was good to see us get a win. Of course, Brighton scoring early on, it was a bit like, oh, very unexpected. I sat down, chucked it on, and yeah, Welbeck, bang. Like, whoa, like, fair enough. Like, good on him. But of course, you know, we've gotten the most points from a losing position, and I think we've also made that a record in Premier League history. I think we might be on 26 points with this win today. So yeah, unreal. It just shows no matter what, we go a goal down, we will fight back. And yeah, done it so many times, and another example of it. But not the easiest one, that's for sure. I think overall, we played pretty well. We played pretty decent. I was happy with the performance. It was just, again, the final chances, the final finishing, final pass, it just wasn't really there. Like, you know, we'll touch on everybody, but for now, you know, Mo Salah, he had 12 shots in this game, the most he's ever had, and possibly equalizing a record. I think I saw Zlatan in like 2017 for Man U also having 12 shots in a match for one player. So I think that's a record, but only one goal to prove from it. And that's what I'm talking about, that finishing that we just lacked a little bit, because he had a fair few chances and he definitely could have got more than one. I'm not saying he could have got a hat trick though, but yeah, he had some chances where I think definitely should have done better. Like, of course, we'll speak on the highlights, but one that I clearly remember is that he's going in and he pretty much just like passes it to the Brighton keeper instead of, I mean, he tried to curl it past him, but he just didn't get it right. And you expect a lot better with the left foot. But, you know, end of the day, we do get the 3 points. So I am happy, and it's always a little bit difficult, I feel like, the games after the international break, because you're in such a good rhythm with your clubs that, you know, you're just flowing, you know, playing Premier League game after Premier League game, and oh yeah, it's going good, around the same people, in the same place. And then that international break happens and it just gets a bit, you know, cut up, like, oh yeah, someone's over there, they're over there. So yeah, the team's obviously not together because so many different nations in the Liverpool squad. And I suppose you just come back to it, and they probably would have had 3 days maybe together to prepare and do a little bit of training and recovery for this game. So it's just, you know, finding back to that rhythm. And I think we did do that this game, especially by the end of the game. I thought, yeah, no, we're flowing and we just can hold it out. But with that scoreline being 2-1, I definitely wanted us to score a third and just convincingly, you know, win. Because, you know, you have games like the Man U one. We just didn't take our chances. They scored late to extra time and bet us there. So you just can never be comfortable with a 1-goal lead. And even if we did get a draw, it wouldn't be good enough because, yeah, we need all the points we can get. So I'll run you through the lineups for both team and, you know, just so you know a little bit more on the game. So, of course, for Liverpool in goals, Kelleher in net, Alisson still out, should be back pretty soon though. At right back, we had Connor Bradley, the 2 centre-backs, Quansah and Van Dijk. Left back, should I say, Gomez. 3 midfielders, McAllister, Endo, Szoboszlai. And then our attacking lineup, which I love to see this attacking 3 back, Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. So a very good team for us. Getting back to our best squad, you could say. Now, of course, you know, no Kanate for maybe Quansah, Robbo and Trent. But then again, Gomez has been good, so it's a bit hard. And of course, you know, Alisson's still out. But I saw this lineup before the game and I went, yeah, nah, that looks good. That's back to the standards where I would like it to be. Because really, it's only that back 5 that aren't at its usual best, you could say. But even then, like Connor Bradley, he's came in and done phenomenally. Like, you would not realize that it's his first kind of season starting in the first team, because he does an absolute top quality job week in, week out now. And that's the same with Quansah as well. He is so good. Like, both of them are, yeah, it is so good to see. You know, our youngsters at the club doing very, very well. And yeah, definitely Quansah. It's fair to compare him to Van Dijk because he is doing very well. And to be honest, of course, he does remind me a fair bit of Van Dijk, but it kind of reminds me more of Matip, to be honest, because he does a lot of, you know, those dribble runs from centre back, and he finds himself, you know, just outside the 18-yard box. And I just see that, I'm like, yeah, Matip used to do those dribbles so much. I mean, of course, he still usually does them, but him being out with an injury for a long time now and out for the rest of the season. So I love, you know, when the centre backs got that space and it's like, well, you know, I can just pass it back, but I've got this space, I may as well go into it. So yeah, you love to see it there. And Kelleher too. I mean, of course, when Alisson will be back with once Alisson recovers from his injury, then you do have to say he will slot back into that goalkeeper as he is the number 1. But Kelleher has done amazing. Like I've said so many episodes, what a game, Kelleher, so many saves. This game, he didn't have to do a lot really. I think he only made a couple saves, 2 saves. So, you know, didn't have to do a lot at all. And that first goal that we conceded, there's nothing he can do there. Welbeck with a beautiful finish. And And yeah, just solid all round. So, like I was saying earlier, with all our shots and just not being able to convert as many, we did in fact have 30 shots and 8 of those on target. So, we did dominate them. And Brighton, they did all right when they had the ball, but against Liverpool at home, how we've been playing recently, you can't do much about it. So yeah, a lot of shots, but yeah, it was just that finishing product. And in the first half, it was pretty end to end, to be honest, especially at the start, with Bryant scoring and then we tried to attack and then they'd go on the counter attack. So it was a good game to watch, especially for the neutrals, very end to end. But that second half, I'd say we definitely took a lot more control, and it was very much Liverpool attack. Then Brighton might get 1 or 2 there, and then us again, bang, bang, bang. So yeah, good performance. Like I said, I thought Szoboszlai was pretty much back to his best, you could say, because he started amazingly at the start of the season. Like those first few games, it was like, wow, this is a player and a half. And of course, he still is an insane player, but he still does his job, but it just wasn't as world class as it was at the start of his Prem season. So yeah, I'm not too sure why that is even, because usually you take a little bit to adjust and you get better and better, but he was really good. And then it dropped a little bit, it was still quality, but not as amazing as he first started. And I suppose he got a little bit of an injury. Now he's back, and he looked really good this game. Going forward, playing some crucial balls. And again, he's just an exciting player to watch. He really is, because if he has a bit of space ahead of him, he will absolutely put the laces through the ball and go for a long-range shot. And you just love to see that, because he's got the talent to finish it. And goalkeepers, they probably expect it from him now, because, he does it a fair bit, I say. And, keepers definitely study, all the players. And it's like, oh, if this player has the ball, be aware, he might take a long-range shot, a lot of power. So, just be a bit moving on your toes. So, yeah. But, yeah, one day he's going to put it in the back of the net and it's going to be wow. And it's going to absolutely break the net. So, it is good. And, I was going to run through the whole squad, but I think everybody in general played really well. Like Endo in that defensive midfield spot now. Top quality, mate. Top quality. Genuinely, I would be comparing him to Rodri. Obviously, the experience, and not the experience, but the years of doing it. Like, obviously, he hasn't done it as long as Rodri, but he's only just coming to Liverpool. But yeah, how he's playing now is so good. And him playing in that defensive role means McAllister can step on. And I'm just going to do it now. My man of the match for this game was McAllister versus his old team. Wow, absolute world class. It genuinely was. Like, he pretty much ran the show. Like, of course, all our players contributed to it, but he was the anchor man, you could say. What a game. And recently, he's been amazing. And, unlike Szoboszlai, and like I was saying, you usually start off a bit how you're going, and then you get better and better because, you're just getting used to the league or the team. And McAllister has just done that. And, of course, it's helped him so much with Endo being that defensive player, allowing him to push forward and be in the role that he played for Brighton. And that's why we bought him for. And yeah, absolute top quality. Definitely my man of the match for the game. And yeah, nothing better to see a player coming up against their old club and doing really well. And yeah, top performance by him. Another thing also I've got on the notes here that I noticed in the game, Joe Gomez, he didn't really get forward a lot. I suppose I know a lot of the play was played down majority of Salah's side, so the right side where Gomez is on the left, but still it's usually, Bradley up a lot and Gomez as well, and it's pretty equal to how much they both attacking, because if one goes, usually, one tries to hold a bit back, and then, unless, we're really forward and we're absolutely dominating. But I found this game, Connor Bradley it was like 90-10. Connor Bradley just always going up that right and then pushing in the midfield as well, which is good. You love to see it, but I thought maybe Gomez could just push on a little bit more and slot into the midfield as well. But I mean, that's usually how it is anyway. So I just thought this game was a bit more Bradley pushing and Gomez not really and sitting back. But, I don't mind it. It happens. I will hope that next game it's kind of back to normal, but I don't think it was very much like planned or is a tactic they tried. Like, okay, Gomez, stay back a little bit. Bradley's going to push up more. I just think that was like the run of the play, I guess, a bit of a coincidence. And of course, Salah back on that side, him having so many chances definitely shows that it was more play that side. So, fair enough, Bradley going up more. And maybe, that was the plan because, I don't like talking about injuries anymore because it happens so much. But Robertson getting an ankle injury on international duty, and of course Gomez did also go out to international duty, getting the call-up back to England. So a big congrats to him. He deserves it so much. Like, he has been playing absolutely superb this season. And when I saw he was included in the squad, I love to see it. And I hope he keeps performing, which I really think he will. And he stays into that squad for the Euros, because I think he will be a very big help for that England squad. Him being so versatile. He can play in the left, the right, in the centre. He can even do a job in the midfield. So good on him. So maybe he's a bit tired, you could say. And maybe that was a tactical decision where Klopp was like, let's try and play more down the right this game. Of course, if it's on for the left, then go to the left. But just so Gomez doesn't have to do a lot more running and just stays back a little bit more, which, did happen. So just a thought there anyway. And yeah, like I said, hopefully Robertson's ankle injury isn't too bad. I don't think it is, but we'll just see anyway. Then the front three, of course, like I said, Salah, Nunez, Diaz. I mean, they were firing all right. I think they've definitely had better games together and definitely could have done better together, their link-up play. But that was just the only problem in this game, the finishing shots, passes, and that's why it wasn't really feeling like it was flowing, but it just wasn't lethal, I guess you could say. So, but again, back from a little bit of a break. Of course, Nunez and I don't think Salah went to their respective teams, but, Diaz coming back, I guess, just getting back into the rhythm of things. And gladly, it's not cost effective as, we got the 3 points. So you love to see it. And I mean, Brighton's side, it's very, very unpredictable. I think one of the hardest teams in the Prem to predict their starting lineup, because they've got so many good quality players, and De Zerbi tries a lot of youngsters, gives them a chance, and yeah, so many players. So for their team, in goals, they had Verbruggen, centre-backs Dunk and Van Hecke, right back Veltman, left back Estupinian. Good to see him back in the squad after his injury. I think he is a top quality player. In the two defensive midfielders, or at least that's what it's got on the sheet here, but they move anywhere in that midfield, really. Baliba and Gross, in that kind of attacking sense. Adingra, Moder, Lamptey, and then Welbeck up front. So, yeah, the starting lineup that I have said, of course, they do play a bit differently to that. It's kind of like a 5 at the back at times, and Estupinian and Lamptey. Yeah, it's different, but De Zerbi, he's such a good manager, and I think he did do very well with his team and played as well as he could, I guess. At Anfield, you don't expect them to get points, but they did make it tough, and that is what you'd expect. So, yeah, good squad, Dunk, quality, and Adingra. Wow, he was putting us under the pressure in the first half. He is so good, man. Like, so young as well, 22, Ivory Coast international, left winger. Yeah, I'm very interested by him, and it'll be very interesting to see what future he has coming to him, his next big move, or he stays at Brighton and does really well, because, yeah, I think a top quality and could go for around $60-80 million, honestly, because, yeah, top quality player he is. And yeah, like I said, that first half put us under a lot of stress. I think Connor Bradley did pretty decent to stop him from getting an assist or goal, but yeah, very, very close. And before speaking about De Zerbi, this is actually the first time Jurgen Klopp has bet De Zerbi. So they've played, from my count and what I can see, they've played against each other, Klopp and De Zerbi, 4 times. And, well, this game being the 5th and, finally beating him. But the previous 4 hasn't been able to do the job. In October 2022, Liverpool at home, we drew 3-3 to them. I believe Trossard scored a hat. Yep, Trossard with a hat trick. Then in the same season, a few months later in January, we went to their place and lost 3-0. But how last season is what it is. And then also lost to them in the FA Cup at Brighton's ground 2-1. And then at the start of this season, very, very unluckily, drawing to them 2-2. And from that game, I can remember Gravenberch missing an absolute sitter and us dominating, but not finding the chance on that occasion. So, it just shows how good of a manager De Zerbi is. And to be honest, he's in for a good shot to be the next Liverpool manager, because I think Xabi Alonso was definitely that number 1 contender, but he has recently came out to say that he wants to stay at Leverkusen and, keep building on what he's set in place, which is done phenomenally. So, yeah, definitely in for a good chance. And I think I said last episode when I was doing the European predictions that I think I just want to do, like a 10-minute episode maybe on the YouTube channel, or include it into a podcast episode of who I think will be the next Liverpool manager, my thoughts on Klopp leaving, and so on because I haven't done one on that yet, and the podcast wasn't a thing when Klopp announced it at the time. So yeah, but big fan of De Zerbi. I like the way he plays, and sadly for him, didn't get a result. Now on to the subs that occurred in the game, just quickly. Liverpool not using too many subs, only 3 and pretty late on. So 83rd minute, Harvey Elliott came on for Nunez. 89th minute, Gakpo on for Diaz. And then 90th minute, Gravenberch on for Szoboszlai. So good to see Gravenberch back into the team, back playing after his injury. And to be honest, I thought Harvey Elliott would have played a bit more. I know he's out with the under-21s and scored a couple goals, and he's in really good form. So I thought maybe even he gets a full half, but not the case. And then, of course, Gakpo on for Diaz. Just, Diaz did pretty well in the game. A lot of running, of course, so, give him a rest, and Gakpo deservedly comes on. And for Brighton subs, in the 70th minute, Bonanate comes on for Lamptey. 83rd minute, the ex-Liverpool man, Lallana, comes on for Adingra. And again in the 83rd minute, Ferguson on for Medea. And 90th minute, Barco on for Estupinian. So I think both teams use their subs pretty well. I think Klopp, like I said before, maybe could have used Elliott a bit earlier and possibly maybe Gravenberch, but obviously coming back from injury, maybe he was told that he can only play 10 minutes max. So yeah, top quality. I mean, you love to see it. And we will go and we will move into the chances. So, of course, like I said, in the second minute, I guess you could say, Welbeck does score. So, Adingra driving on that left-hand side. He tries to cut in, and I believe Endo gets a little touch, and then it bounces from a defender, lands into the path of Welbeck on the half volley, and laces it into the back of the net. So, an absolute top quality finish. I mean, I think every striker can do that in the Premier League. It's just whether they can do it on the day so early on as well. Like, I know, of course, you've got the warm-ups to switch on, but when that chance happens so early, some players just not really ready for it, but he was and took it very well to give Brighton the lead 1-0. One of Salah's 12 shots also happened in the 17th minute. A ball got played over by McAllister. I mean, it was a beautiful, nice little lob ball over, and he took it on the left on the volley, but I do think he could have cut it back, used his right foot just to tap it back to Darwin Nunez, who was running in the box, and he would have had a tap in, but oh well, and we move. Then in the 26th minute, Dominic Szoboszlai takes a corner. It gets headed out. Salah heads it back in, and Pascal Gross just tries to clear it, like flicks it up with his boot, but he just doesn't get enough connection and really just lets it go past. He still does get that touch and moves the ball a bit, but it just allows Luis Diaz, who was in an offside position, to get that finishing final tap into the goal. He took that final tap beautifully, like set up perfectly for him on the volley, and just, yeah, calm as you like, past Verbruggen. And you gotta say, Pascal Gross didn't, apologies, it was Veltman. If Veltman didn't get that touch, he would have been offside, so bit unlucky for Brighton there. But Diaz makes it 1-1. In the 31st minute, the chance I talked about earlier, Dominic Szoboszlai played a ball through to Salah. He's looking good. He's opening the hips, opening the body, shaping to curl it into the corner. But like I said previously, gets it all wrong and pretty much just passes it to the keeper. And yeah, not the best attempt, that's for sure, from him. And you expect him to hit corners on that. In the second half, McAllister early on could have made it 2-1, score against his old club. Joe Gomez whipped in a ball to him, and he got a beautiful bit of connection on it, but it just missed the far post and just went wide. So close, but not the one. Then finally, in the 64th minute, Szoboszlai plays a beautiful firing ball into McAllister. And honestly, that ball kind of just split the defense. They didn't really know what they were doing. And McAllister sees a bit of space, sees Mo Salah in that space, passes to him. Salah takes a touch, and then just an easy finish for him. Absolute set piece. Well, not set piece, but just, you know, beautiful, perfect precision play. And yeah, gives us the lead 2-1. And yeah, we don't manage to get any more goals in that game, which would have been very nice at the time, because you can never settle with just a 1-goal lead. You never know what's going to happen. Especially those last few minutes are very, how you going? Like, please don't score. But yeah, no more goals, and the game finishes 2-1. But before I end the highlight segment of this, a bit of beautiful play by Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. Just Nunez does beautiful to drive forward, split some defenders, and then when he gets closed down, he plays the ball to Mo Salah, who picks a beautiful pass to Diaz, and Diaz finishes the ball, I think, all game. That was the best bit of play, link-up play from them all, but Diaz just offside. So good to see near the end of the game. You could say that the play between them was getting better and it was doing well. So hopefully they move that into the next game, but we shall see. And with this win, of course, at the time, it put us 2 points above. It put us 3 points above Arsenal and 4 points above Manchester City. But of course, they had their massive game to play a little bit later, and we'll hop into it now. Man City v Arsenal. Very anticlimactic, really, you could say. I was expecting an absolute cracker. I did think there were going to be goals, that's for sure. I thought one team would score pretty early on, whether that be Arsenal or City, whichever team, and yeah, it just goes from there. I was thinking a 3-2 game, a 2-2, something like that, but the one thing I did not want to happen was Arsenal winning, and it didn't happen. And I think, to be honest, a draw is best for Liverpool, personally. But yeah, you've just got to say, a bit of a disappointing game for the neutrals. And for me, yeah, because I am a neutral because, Liverpool fan and they didn't play in this game. But it is like the best outcome for us. But yeah, just not that entertaining, to be honest. Like, I would have loved a 2-2, a 3-3, so many things to talk about, bang. But even though I spent a long time talking about the Liverpool game, so we'll see what we'll do with the rest of the games. But yeah, it's just one of the last massive, top 3 blockbuster matchup. And yeah, it didn't really live up to it. I think both teams disappointing. I'd be more disappointed in that team if I was a City player, because I just think at home, when you went to the Emirates, you lost to Arsenal, so got to get one back on them because, end of the season, Arsenal v City, they've gotten 4 points to City's 1 because, obviously bet them at the Emirates, but yeah, not a lot to say, really. Of course, I'll go through the chances and that, but, City only having 12 shots, 1 on target. I mean, that just shows how little attacks from them, they could say, and really definitive chances, because 1 on target from 12 shots is quite poor. So, to Arsenal's 6 shots and 2 on target. So, yeah, it's just a very disappointing game. I don't know. There's no other really way to put it. From the bits I watched of it as well, I just thought, apart from City going for it near the end of the game, that 80th minute, following, I don't think any teams really wanted the win. They were just like, no, we're kind of happy for a draw. We don't mind because, we don't really want to go attacking forward because, teams being so good, they will counter-attack you very good. And yeah, I just think that's what played a big role in this game, just playing with fear. And I think both teams should have been very fearless and absolutely go for it. They did play how they usually play, but it just wasn't very much attacking. And I just thought, especially City would have, in the second half, would have kind of, threw the bus at them a little bit more. But it wasn't the case. And yeah, just before, this game happened, I was thinking, the podcast episode, yeah, this is going to be one of the biggest games. I'm going to talk about it a lot, but there's not much to talk about. It's just the main thing, talking about how kind of disappointing it was. But, they both get a point apiece. Now Arsenal 2 points behind Liverpool, City 3 points behind us. So, it's very good for us. And, all we have to do now is just, win every game, drop no points, and we should be right. But that is much easier said than done. So something to talk about, I'll run you through just quickly the lineups for both teams. So for Manchester City, the home team, Ortega in goals, because obviously Ederson still injured. The back four of Akanji, Diaz, Ake, and Gvardiol. Now, sadly, Ake did have to go off in the 27th minute due to an injury. I'm not too sure what it was, but yeah, it wasn't looking the best for him. I think he'll be back in, a week or two, but it just wasn't really moving as good, I guess you could say, as he usually would. He just seemed a little bit tight, a little bit, yeah, I'm feeling this. So he went off and Rico Lewis came in, and I thought he did a pretty decent job. In the midfield, you could kind of say, because again, just like the Brighton team, they move around a bunch. They're not in a specific place. You got Rodri, Kovacic, you got De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, and then of course Haaland up front. And yeah, I'm just looking at these players, and there's no standout ones really. I mean, Rodri solid as always. De Bruyne was fighting for it when he had the chances, but somebody who definitely does stand out to me, and not in a good way though, Erling Haaland. I mean, I've said this before, I've said it a fair few times. He goes missing in big games. He really does. And it's not even, just the past two big games, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, this one. It's, the season previous, this season as well. He's just not there. Only big game I remember where he performed was the Manchester derby, but Man U at the moment, not the best, and even, at the start of the season. So, yeah, he's a goal machine, I'll give him that, and he's a top quality player, but when they don't have much chances forward, he really doesn't give much to the team. He doesn't drop deep a lot, he's not very good at linking up the play, making the ball flow. He's just primarily a striker, which the way City play, it's not the best suited for them when they play these big games and they don't have that much attack, and they need to, be playing the nice short balls and find, the dinks over the top. And for that to happen, Haaland needs to drop a little bit more, try and drag the centre backs out. But I mean, there was always that discussion at the start of last season when Haaland first came in, because it was like, well, Manchester City for the past couple seasons since Aguero left, they haven't really had a out-and-out striker, really. It was more just three with the midfield pushing on it, and it was just very move and flowing. Whoever was in that striker position would be moving around the whole, front third of the pitch. And yeah, they just, never had that straight out number 9 spot. And, of course, he came in and broke goal records for the season. But yeah, it was still in those big games. I'm not too sure where you're going. And I mean, yeah, 23 touches. That is shocking, you got to say. And Roy Keane absolutely slammed him. I don't remember what exactly he said, but I remember seeing it, and it was like his link-up play not even is as good as a League 2 player. So, I mean, take that as what you will. Slightly harsh, I think, because I reckon he can play the ball pretty well and link it up, but I don't know. Maybe in that, it's tough. It really is, because, his quality, but then again, the amount of tap-ins he's got in, he's not very good at heading, to be honest, but because all the crosses he gets are so easy, they're pretty easy to header, so it makes it look good. And yeah, I just think not a big game player, in my opinion. And yeah, just shows it again. And especially, for City in these games, you want somebody up front that proves a threat no matter how many chances they get, whether that even means they have to drop to the midfield a little bit and sprint on, but Yeah, I'd like to know what a City fan thinks of it, but that's just my thoughts on it. And yeah, when I saw Roy Keane say that, I went, wow, that is slightly harsh, I think, but I can understand when he doesn't get involved in play in these games and gets such little touches. For Arsenal's starting 11, Raya in goals, Ben White at right back, Gabriel and Saliba as the centre halves, Kiwa as left back, the middle three, Declan Rice, Jorginho and Martin Odegaard. Then the front three with Saka, Havertz and Jesus. So a good lineup from Arsenal, that's for sure. Very, very strong. Their bench also looked pretty good as well with, well, Tomiyasu is all right. Thomas Partey, Trossard, Martinelli, Zinchenko, Smith Rowe, Vieira and Kedia. A lot of quality players. And of course, City have that as well. Rico Lewis, Grealish, Doku, Stones, Alvarez and Nunes. So I would say, they're pretty evenly matched. Of course, I think on paper, City have a better team, but how Arsenal have been playing recently, very, very good. So we'll move into the chances for this game here. In the first half for Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus having a couple of decent chances. One in the 6th minute where it just a cross came down to him. He tested it down, hit it on the volley along the ground, just wide of the post. And then another chance in the 30th minute where he got the ball cut back to him, top of the box, kind of goes past Bernardo Silva a little bit, gives himself the space for the shot and just drags it wide. But he was looking good when he got the few chances he did against his former club, of course, but couldn't make anything fatal. And to be honest, that really is all the highlights for the first half. A very quiet one. Both teams kind of feeling out each other, I guess you could say. But yeah, you just would have thought they start very quick, firing, Boy, it's a big game. Let's go. Let's get the goal early, set the standards. And yeah, we get a goal early. We're going to dictate this game. But no team really did that. They just kind of, we'll go out there. We'll just feel how it goes and try hold the ball. And yeah, just nothing really, no one really going for it. But start of the second half, Man City go out and looking pretty good, you could say. They have it's not a big chance in the spot he's in, but Mateo Kovacic makes it a big chance. Just a nice turn by Rico Lewis, a few nice quick passes, gets played to Kovacic. He's outside of the box by a fair bit, on more of the left side, and goes for that curling finish on the right side of the net, but just misses. A little bit wide. That seems to be the story of the game so far, but a very good effort from that far out. And this is a game where it definitely needed somebody to do an absolute miracle, put a masterclass of finishing on it, take a long range shot, it goes in, and you're the hero for the team, you win the game. But no one able to do that. 76th minute, De Bruyne absolutely running down that left-hand side with the ball, plays a ball across to Doku, who shapes up his man, do a little step, takes a touch inside, goes for that curling finish to hit the top left-hand corner, but just gets it all wrong, doesn't get the ball out of his feet enough, and it blazes it over the crossbar. In the 83rd minute, Man City have a corner. De Bruyne takes, puts it in a dangerous area. Gvardiol heads it down and it manages to find its way to the back post where Haaland is running in and completely misses the ball. I don't really know what he was trying to do. A touch with his left or right. He was trying to put a foot out to it and make Raya have a save, or to be honest, probably should have found the back of the net, but he just completely missed the ball. Very, very strange indeed. And I mean, yeah, Another example, big game, Haaland missing the ball. Anyway, though, a few minutes later, Arsenal are on the break. Odegaard plays a ball through to Trossard. He's got Martinelli running on the right, but he goes himself, takes a shot, and it's a pretty comfortable save for Ortega, and Man City clear their lines. And to be honest here, I think Trossard definitely should have played the ball through to Martinelli. Yes, there was a defender pretty close to Martinelli, but he would have put the burners on, and he was putting the burners on, but, you play that ball in front, and he's like, I know I got to get there. It's like, personally, I find, when say let's do a 100-meter sprint, I'm not the quickest, but like you put a ball on that finish line, I'm going even quicker. Like just in a game, I've got to make the sprint. You make yourself go even faster, I feel like. And yeah, he was just pretty much open if he played the right time to pass through to him and, takes a touch. And I would have put my money on Martinelli finishing it, but nah, Trossard decides to go alone. And yeah, a bit of a poor decision in my opinion, I think. And that is the last decent chance, I guess you could say. So yeah, ends 0-0. And yeah, a lot of hype on this, massive blockbuster game, but it really does not live up to it, sadly. And it's good for Liverpool because they drew, dropped points, both teams. So we love to see it. But yeah, you always want to see some goals. And 0-0 is never a nice scoreline. But, we move, and it's actually, for Manchester City, the last time they were scoreless at home was 58 games ago. So they have been they're always on fire, especially at home. So they haven't been scoreless in 58 games until this one, of course. So just shows, how good Arsenal did as well, I guess, to stop him. But even though I don't feel like City really went for it. But anyway, I just saw that stat and wow, that is really, really cool. Very interesting. I'd like to know when was the last time Man City actually had a 0-0 game, because couldn't tell you the last time, that's for sure. So yeah, that is the big game between the two teams and ends as a draw, a point for each team. Brentford 1, Manchester United 1. Some absolute late drama that occurred in this game. It was quite an entertaining game to watch, in my opinion, to be honest, because I did watch the second half. Didn't watch the first, though. But I got up and the second half was about to start, so I thought, yeah, go on. I'm gonna put it on. And yeah, it was a Brentford masterclass, and I'm pretty sure in the first half, it was the exact same. To be honest, Brentford, oh mate, they are so unlucky not to get the 3 points from that game, because like I said, so dominant, and they just couldn't find that finishing touch, and that's what really killed him. And then when Mason Mount got subbed on in the end of the game, and then got that 96th minute goal, I believe, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Because, I wanted Brentford to win because I like Brentford and, I'm a Liverpool fan. I don't really like Man United. So I was like, of course, Man United, scrape through again somehow. I don't know how, but then they go up to the other end of the field, Brentford do, and Aya scores in the 99th minute. So you absolutely love to see it. Of course, they wait till like the last kick of the game to finally put one in the back of the net. But at the start of the game, I think they would have been okay with a point. I think they definitely thought we could get 3 points here, but a point's not bad. But playing the game and, knowing what happened during it, they definitely are not happy with the point. They would have been even more pissed off with no points and definitely should have got 3 of them. So, they just couldn't hit the back of the net. Like, yeah, good chances and good, decent shots, but Onana with some decent saves, and surprisingly, Tony wasn't able to land one of them, or Wissa or Mbeumo when he came on, but that's how she goes sometimes, and sadly, Brentford just don't score more on early on to finish the game and get the 3 points because they need it at the moment, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they are 5 points above the drop zone, but you just never know. And of course, you'd rather be safe than sorry. And you just look, their remaining games quickly. Brentford beat Brighton at home. I feel like Brighton will, edge the points there. Villa at home v Brentford, no points there. Brentford v Sheffield, I think that's 3 points there. Then a big game, Luton v Brentford. It can go either way. Then they've got Everton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Newcastle. So I do definitely think they'll stay up, and there is some chances for them to get some more points. And even against a team like Villa, they could pull one out of the bag because on their day, they can play very well, like they showed against Man United at home. It was just the finishing product they lack. So they're definitely a Premier League level team. That's for sure. I just couldn't finish it. And you've got to say, Man United, I'm not too sure what's happening at the moment. It's so weird. It is so inconsistent. The most inconsistent team in the Premier League. Just in any team at the moment, to be honest. They play 1 week where they're amazing. They're back to the best you've seen of them in a while. And then the next week, they struggle. They face 31 shots. Like, I'm sorry, but Brentford cannot have 31 shots against Man United. It just shouldn't be possible. That's like a Liverpool fact of how many shots versing them, because it's just crazy. It just shows that Brentford in general, in everything, absolutely ran over Man United in the defense, midfield, forward, because that, so many, like, come on, from a Man United perspective anyway, 31 shots faced. Oh, I would not be happy with that, and I think that would be it would be one of their worst performances of the season. Again, I like to think what a Man U fan would say, and I was thinking maybe get a bit of input from Loz, but I think if we asked him, he might tell me to F off, because, I know he definitely wasn't happy with the result, because, I was chatting to him about it, and he's like, we do pretty well against the big teams, and that's pretty fair. They get points from Villa. I don't know if they've gotten points from Spurs this season, but draw to Liverpool as well, and then they just drop points to not the little teams, but the lower on the table teams, you could say, and that's really what cost them the most, and that's why I say they're so inconsistent. They really want, of course, to push for that 5th spot, because I think they are changing it, because Champions League is going to be different next season. That now in the Premier League, the 5th spot is also another Champions League spot, but 8 points behind Spurs at the time of recording. You just don't really see that happening unless they go on a really good run, but like I said, they're so inconsistent, you don't think that's going to happen. Another stat that I don't really like to look at, to be honest. Like, I think it's interesting, but I don't think it tells too much of a story. Expected goals. So Brentford had 3.29 and Man U had 0.59. So, it does show how many goals Brentford should have got, and Man U really, should have got none, but it's a bit of an iffy stat. I'm sure, all the logistics behind it is very, spot on, but you just never know unless the ball goes in the back of the net, So I'm not going to talk about the chances for this game, because it will just be a lot of Brentford. Oh yeah, Man U scored a goal late on, and then, oh my gosh, Brentford finally put a ball in the back of the net to rescue a point. And I have talked a fair bit about the Liverpool-Brighton game and a bit about the Arsenal-City game. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. Disappointing result for Brentford, but hopefully for them, they get some more points in the rest of the season. Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. So for most of the rest of their games, for now on, to be honest, I am just going to say the goal scorers. If I thought, that is the way the game should have gone, beforehand, before kickoff, Bournemouth at home to Everton, do I think they should have won 2-1, just because, a lot of time on these games, if I kick on the way I'm going, we might have a 2-hour podcast, so which of course would be amazing, but it is a big month at the moment because I believe most Premier League teams play about 9 times this month. So yeah, it's a lot, and we're gonna be on the podcast grind, but we love to see it, that's for sure. So yeah, Bournemouth 2, Everton 1. Solanke scores in the 84th minute, and then some late minute drama. Beto thinks he's rescued a point for Everton in the 87th minute, but then Coleman scores an own goal in the 91st minute for Bournemouth to win that game. Now, I just had a look at the goals then, and Solanke's just was a nice headed finish from a cross by Kelly, who just came on at the time. I believe it was his first touch. And then the next 2 goals, a bit of a disaster class for the defenders. Beto's goal was that a cross was played in, Neto came out, grabbed it, but then, went to catch it and grab it, but completely just dropped the thing, fumbled it, and Beto was just there and got an easy tap in because, he went for the jump to try and get the ball before Neto, but then Neto got the ball and just dropped it. Yeah, disaster from him. I don't think it was a foul, but yeah, you should have just punched it. And then, you think, oh, yes, Everton. Well, if you're an Everton fan, because I, to be honest, wanted Bournemouth to win because I like Bournemouth as well. Bournemouth, Brentford. Maybe it's the red teams. I don't know. But, yeah, you think they've gotten a point, but it goes down the other end. And, poor Coleman, man. On his 200th appearance, the ball just comes across and Pickford doesn't go for it, and Coleman. So yeah, pretty much the ball just comes across, and then he gets a little bit of an awkward touch on it. It's kind of like quad / stomach, area. Just he hits it, and it ends up going in the back of the net. But I think, he just didn't check his shoulders beforehand when that ball came in because he had nobody on him, nobody coming in far post. He could have let that roll past, and it would have been fine. Where I think in his mind, he thought, I need to get a touch on it to just take it wide because I've got a Bournemouth player running in onto it. If I leave it, they've got a pretty much open goal to score in. But that wasn't the case, and so unlucky for him, on his 200th appearance as well. You want to make it a memorable one, and sadly, just near the end, it's just a bit of lack of communication again, you could say, lacking judgment, and he scores the own goal. So a pretty even game, I believe it was. Bournemouth 11 shots, 4 on target. Everton 7 shots, 3 on targets. So both teams playing all right, I think, but of course Bournemouth, somehow kind of doing the job. Solanke's goal proving very important. Because it's then Bournemouth made a mistake, then Everton made a mistake to, just equalise the goals. So a very interesting game, but a good win. And with those 3 points for Bournemouth, they are now in 11th place, 1 point above Chelsea. What an achievement that is for them. That is absolutely crazy. Bournemouth, 41 points this season so far. Above Chelsea, Fulham, Palace, good on them. Fair dues. I love to see some of the smaller teams, in money-wise, and, they've only been in the Prem for, 2 seasons, maybe this is their 3rd. I'm not too sure, but, you look at it, this way. They're only 3 points behind 8th place, which is Newcastle. And then they're only 4 points behind 7th, which is West Ham. So like I've said, recently that even that 13th to 7th place, it's only separated by 6 points. So anybody could really get some European competition. And wouldn't that be something if, Bournemouth, just keep winning and beat their teams, that they could find themselves in 7th place, 4 points behind West Ham, you never know. So good on them, good win. And I suppose they do need the 3 points if they want to keep pushing up some places and see how far they can go. But I'd say at this point, 100% they are safe from relegation zone because, how many is that? 21 points above Luton. So, yeah, you got to say they're chilling. And Everton, though, it's not looking the best for them, but I don't think they will also drop. I think they'll be all right and stay up 4 points above the drop zone. So, unlucky for them not to hold on to their late equaliser to get a point. But it happens, and the game finishes 2-1 to the Bournemouth. Nottingham Forest versus Crystal Palace. The game ended 1-1, all level at full time. Mateta scoring in the 11th minute and Chris Wood in the 61st. So, to be honest, I don't think that's a result Nottingham Forest wanted. I think at home versus Palace, definitely a chance to get all 3 points, but just unable to do it. Only gets the one. Where, on the other hand, Palace going to Forest, they're both around, the same kind of level. 5 points separates them. And I think they will be more happy with that draw. But pretty close game. I think draw is fair for both teams. They both get a point. It helps them. And wow, Chris Wood's goal. Fantastic, really. That is crazy. I did not think he was getting there. So he gets played a ball over the top. The keeper's coming out as well. I thought in that position, the ball's just a little bit too high for Chris Wood, and the keeper will get it. But he jumps, but then turns his body so he's facing the other way as the goal, and the back of the head is facing towards goal and just gets a little touch onto it to put it in the back of the net. I don't really know how. I think he turned his body because he didn't really want to get hurt by the keeper. But yeah, you got to see it because, wow, fantastic finish from him. Did not expect that at all, to be honest. So good on him. And Mateta's goal, just, some decent play by Palace. It gets cut back to him and he fires it into the net. So a point apiece, yeah. I think beforehand, I probably would have predicted a draw or Forest to win by a goal. So yeah, a close game I would have thought, and it was. So, fair enough. And yeah, not a lot to talk about this game. And, Forest and Palace, a bit lower on the table. So we will move on to the next game. Aston Villa 2, Wolves 0. So in the 36th minute, Diaby scores. In the 65th minute, Konsa scores. And yeah, they top up a nice 3 points with their win against Wolves. You would have thought the scoreline be a lot closer because Wolves are very quality this season. But I suppose at Villa Park, Villa got the job over them. Pretty close in terms of shot and possession wise. Villa having 48, Wolves having 52, 11 shots for Villa, 5 on target to Wolves, 13 shots, 3 on target. So seemed like a pretty even game. But Villa taking their chances. Diaby putting in a good performance, getting a goal and assist. Good to see him working his way into the starting lineup. And I suppose with McGinn, being suspended with the red card, he just kind of slots in pretty nicely into that role because McGinn is, of course, the midfielder, but he does get forward a fair bit. So I actually really liked the starting lineup they came out with. Of course, Martinez as the goalkeeper, Konsa right back, Carlos and Torres in the centre back roles, Moreno left back, Bailey right mid, Tielemans Luiz in the middle, Rogers on the left, and Diaby in that kind of centre forward role, you could say, with Watkins up front, where Watkins only played half of the game. And I believe he did come off due to a little bit of a hamstring injury. I think he just felt it. So, Emery was at like halftime. Yeah, no, come off, mate. We'll sub, the second striker on. And, luckily for them, it doesn't matter too much. Watkins not playing the second half because they managed to get another goal, double their lead, and let Wolves score no goals. So, a bit disappointing, to be honest, to see Ollie Watkins having to get subbed off and just lately having a bit of a battle with injuries. But, he's playing so many games, so many minutes as well. I have a feeling, and this may be wrong now, but I think a couple of weeks ago I saw this thing and it was like, apart from, the goalkeepers, Ollie Watkins is the most played person in terms of minutes outfield. I'm pretty sure that's right. I'm pretty sure what I saw was correct. But now that's probably not the case because he has had a couple games where he's only played a little bit, gotten subbed off. But yeah, he usually plays a full 90. But of course, with him playing so much, playing so well, so many games as well, of course, played a bit for England on the international break as well. Injuries are just bound to happen. So hopefully it's not too bad for him and, maybe takes a week off to recover and he's back to normal, but we'll see how he goes. And yeah, a good win for Villa, to be honest. And now, of course, they sit 2 points above Spurs. Well, I say now, but they still are 2 points above Spurs and only 5 points behind Manchester City. So you never know. I don't see them, getting up to that level. But it is a bit crazy to think, to be honest. Villa at the start of the season, they're going to be in fourth place, only 5 points behind City. That is a bit mental. So fair play to them, doing very well. Another win for them. Just keep tallying them up, securing that, or trying to secure that fourth spot. And I was just looking at the goals then. Diaby's finish, whoa, that was a strike and a half. Just a ball played all the way to the top of the box and fires it. Composed finish, top corner, beat the keeper. Power. I don't really know where I was going with that, but yeah, it's a good finish. That's to say the least. And then Konsa's goal, wow, I don't really know how to explain that. He's just on the right in the box and tries to do like a chip cross to Duran on the other side, but it kind of mishits it, to be honest, and gets like a spin on it to go on the right side of the goal. So he chips it, but it's moving to the right and it manages to hit the post, but the defender's there and kicks it out and then Duran's there to get the finishing touch. But it turns out that his cross shot, I think it was definitely a cross. I don't know what he's going to claim, but yeah, it managed to hit the right side of the post and it did cross the line. Good goal for him. A bit crazy, to be honest. I did not expect that, and when I saw it, wow. So good win for Villa. Martinez making a good save, making some good saves I saw. Of course, keeping Wolves out. And yeah, I would have thought maybe Wolves, get a goal, make it a pretty close game, I guess you could say. But I suppose with Neto, Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan still out with injuries, their attacking lineup just isn't really the same, sadly. Tottenham 2, Luton 1. Now, you would have thought Spurs run a bit more all over Luton, but that is not the case, especially at home. But Chong scores in the 3rd minute, Kabore with an own goal in the 51st, and then Son gets the winner in the 86th minute. So a good bit of play by Luton at the start of the game. Chon with a nice finish. And Kabori's own goal, a bit unlucky because there's not much you can do when a ball gets whipped in at that speed and you've got, Werner running right behind you. And, if I don't get a touch on the ball, then he's going to, and he's just most likely going to fire it in the back of the net. So he tried to get that touch and maybe hit it over the crossbar, but it just doesn't happen. And yeah, a bit own goal, but it happens. You'd rather, well, in my opinion at least, you'd rather try and get a touch on it than leave it for Werner to score, and make you look possibly even worse because now everyone knows, yeah, you tried, a bit unlucky, you can't really do much. It was a good cross and Werner in a good position, so you just move. And then Son scoring the winner, as you expect. Good on him. And again, I feel like so many games, Luton playing really well, for their standards respectfully, and making the game really close, but just not getting any points out of it. Like, only lost by a goal, but, they get no points at the end of the day. So close. And, Spurs were very dominant, but just couldn't finish all their chances. And then when Luton had the few chances they did, capitalised on one of them, and sadly just couldn't hold on to the draw, with Son getting the winner in the end. So again, just showing that dominance. Spurs 17 shots to Luton 7, 4 on target to their 3. And Spurs lineup looking really good. I think back to some of the best lineup they could put out. I'll just quickly run through it. Vicario in net, Pedro Porro right back, Romero and Dragusin in the centre half role, Udogie left back, Sarr and Basuma in the defensive midfield role, with Kulusevski, Maddison, Werner and Son in the attack. A really good lineup from him, and they still had, Brennan Johnson on the bench, Richarlison, Bentancur, Højbjerg, so they're looking good. And of course, like I said before in the Villa game, they're only 2 points behind him. They, keep fighting very close to them. They could have passed them a few games ago, but, just dropping points. It is what it is. And for Luton, sadly, they stay in the drop zone. Sheffield United 3, Fulham 3. A very surprising result, in my opinion, to be completely honest. Of course, Sheffield at home, there is a slight chance that they, might have got something out of it. And in fact, they did, a point against Fulham. But I just expect, personally, Fulham to pretty much dominate the whole game and take all 3 points off them. But some goals, and they all came in the second half. A 6-goal second half thriller, you could say. Ben Brenton Diaz in the 58th minute for Sheffield. Palhinha to equalise it in the 62nd. McBurney for Sheffield to give them the lead in the 68th minute. And then Diaz scores another goal to get a brace in the 70th minute. And Fulham pull it back near the end of the game with Reed scoring in the 86th minute and Muniz in the 93rd. So a very, very intriguing game, especially for the neutrals, especially near the end of the game. So good on them, Sheffield, for getting a point off Fulham, because that is a pretty good achievement for them, you could say, because Fulham being very quality this season, only a point behind Chelsea, and, in that mix of that 13th to 7th place where it's only separated by a few points. With that draw for Sheffield, it gives them their 6th draw of the season, gets them another point, and now they sit on 15 points, Burnley above them on 19 points, and Luton on 22. So they're not a definite going down, but of course it's looking like that way, but they still have a chance, and picking up points in these games is very important for them. And sadly, too, though, they couldn't hold on to their 2-goal lead and keep the 3 points. Diaz's first goal was by a bit of good play by Sheffield and McBurney whipping it across and Diaz able to get in the finishing touch. Palhinha's goal was just a set piece, a corner come in and a beautiful header by him to beat the keeper and equalise it. Then for Sheffield's second goal, like I said, Diaz returns the favour to McBurney. He assists him this time and McBurney scores. Just a nice little cutback from Diaz and an easy finish once again for Sheffield. Diaz's second goal is a cross whipped in. He gets there first, buries the header in, and Sheffield actually thought they got their fourth goal of the game by McBurney, getting his second, but it is ruled out for offside. Decadoba-Reid's finish, quality outside the box and just picks the side of the net. Beautiful finish. And then to equalise it late for Fulham, Muniz with a very good aerial kick. It was a scissor kick, really. It was on his side, both feet off the ground, and wow, fair dues to him. Very acrobatic and rescues a point for Fulham. And you've got to say, if they buried their chances earlier on, then I don't think Sheffield would have even had a sniff. Because, I mean, Fulham 24 shots, 9 on target to Sheffield's 8 shots, 4 on target. So they were very dominant. 2, again, possession, 74-26 in Fulham's favour. So they should have won and wrapped up the points early on, but couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, which just allowed Sheffield to run right, scoring a couple goals, but Fulham do capitalise late on. And Fulham definitely would be disappointed with not getting the whole 3 points, but it does happen. And all you can do is just move on, just work harder and train next season, getting ready for next game. Chelsea 2, Burnley 2. What a game. So many things happening. Diassi scoring in the 20th minute, but he gets ruled out for a foul. Then Lorenz Assignon gets his second yellow of the match with him giving away a penalty, which Cole Palmer steps up and, of course, slots it ice cold. And Vincent Kompany, the Burnley manager, also receiving a red card. Then, very surprising for Burnley, to be honest, they score the next goal to equalise at 1-1 right after half-time. They do only have 10 men to Chelsea's 11, but they dig deep and Cullen scores. But the man again, what a youngster he is turning out to be. Cole Palmer steps up and scores again. But Burnley, once again, come back, not expected, and score another equalising goal to win a point against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge with O'Shea with a header. Phenomenal. You just can't write it. What an entertaining game. And Chelsea, I don't know how they haven't won, and I don't know how they've let Burnley grab a point from them, because after the 40th minute, they were on 10 men and they also had a goal advantage. So I don't know how they didn't add on to that and let some goals slip away from them, as they should have scored so many. 33 shots, 13 on target. Burnley, surprisingly, did have a few shots though, 18 shots and 7 on target. So very interesting that I thought, because of course Chelsea dominant, but maybe the defense lacking. I mean, I think every week it's pretty much a new backline, because they got so many players on the bench and injuries that can come back, and Pochettino switching it up. I know for this game it was Gusto right back, Cucurella left back, Disasi and Badiashile in the centre half. But, you know, sometimes Thiago Silva plays in the role, or Chilwell when he's not injured, and of course Reece James when he's not injured. So it switches up a lot, but yeah, you can't believe that Chelsea haven't gotten 3 points and bet Burnley at home. And the big talking point on this game was Assignon's contact on Mudryk in the box worth a penalty and then a second yellow, which caused his red card. Because Vincent Kompany was fuming. That's why he got a red card, because he was very verbal about it, about how it shouldn't have been a foul, and Mudryk, you know, just gone down too easy. It is a contact sport, of course, and to be honest, it's a tough call because, you know, of course, there's not a lot in it. there's not a lot in it, and Mudryk does just fall to the ground. But the arm is, on the shoulder over it. And I think first off, he definitely, just gave it a little bit of a pull and then didn't do much after. But yeah, you just can't be doing that much contact in the box. I think it shouldn't be a pen personally, but how the game is nowadays with just the littlest of touches, even if it's just a brush and the attacker doesn't even really feel it, it's given as a pen. So I do see how that's a penalty. A yellow card, a bit harsh, but I suppose most of the time, if you give away a pen and it's a foul, you get a yellow card. But I think maybe the ref should have took into consideration that he was already on a yellow. Was that really deserved of a yellow card infringement? Well, yeah, it kind of is. He didn't deserve to get sent off, but of course, him already being booked early on, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. And of course, like I said, Cole Palmer steps up, eyes cold, makes an absolute mockery of the keeper by doing a beautiful Panenka. And wow, the form he's been in this season, of course, coming from Man City into that Chelsea lineup, fantastic by him. And a lot of people saying, how have Burnley gotten a point out of the game? Well, they took their chances, and Cullen, with a bit of brilliance with his goal, just ball bouncing, does a 1-2 with another Burnley player, not too sure who it is, and then just fires it outside of the box with the outside of his foot. It just curls beautifully in the corner. What a finish to beat Petrovic. He's got no chance. It is just a stunning strike. Close to one of the best goals of the season, you got to say, because wow, what a finish. And Cole Palmer's second goal, because of course he did score all the goals for Chelsea, got a brace. It's just beautiful play. Just Jackson lays it up to him, does a nice little chop pass to him, and, textbook stuff, really. He takes a touch out, and then another one, then finishes it. Yeah, on fire Cole Palmer is. Gets in good positions and finishes the chances when he gets them. That's exactly what you want. And you got to say, one of Chelsea's best finishes at the moment, and they really need it. He's gotten Chelsea a lot of points from that. And of course, like I said, O'Shea's goal in the 81st minute came off his head. It was from a corner, set piece, and Petrovic did get a touch on his header, but header too powerful, and Petrovic just not enough on it to guide it out of the goal, and still manages to cross the line into the back of the net. And these are the games 100% where Burnley would like to get points, because versus Chelsea at the Bridge, you don't really expect them. But if they can pick up some surprising points, for them to be honest, and then do some quality job against the lower teams where you think, we could get a draw or win, it just keeps them ticking over, and the next thing you know, they're only a couple points out of the drop zone. And to be honest, they only need 4 more points, so 4 more points to be above Luton in 18th. And then they'll need 2 more to be tied with Forest, and then 1 more to be above them. But yeah, we'll see. Not all hope is lost for him, but it is going to need just a bit of a miracle to get him out. And this game was a bit of it, that's for sure. The last game of the Premier League summary, Newcastle at home versus West Ham. That game ended 4-3, a 7-goal thriller, an absolute elite game. That is exactly what you want to watch. Goals galore. Isak scoring in the 6th minute, then Antonio in the 21st, Kudos in the 45th, plus 10 minutes added on in the first half. Bowen scores early on in the second half in the 48th minute, and then West Ham let a 2-goal lead slip, and Newcastle scored the 3 last goals with Isak again from the penalty spot, Barnes coming on as a substitute and scoring a brace as well in the 83rd minute, one of his goals, and the 90th for the other to give them the whole 3 points as they do not settle for the draw. A pretty close game, you've got to say. But Newcastle, more the dominant side, and West Ham just taking their chances when they can. And to be honest, they didn't need to do a lot as they had the 2-goal lead and just kind of sitting back and trying to soak up all the pressure from Newcastle, but not a lot in attack they could do to add on. But Newcastle finally break the deadlock in the second half and get those 3 goals to put them in front 4-3 and win the game. Isak's penalty goal slots it beautifully. Antonio's goal gets a beautiful ball lobbed over to him by Paqueta and just lovely takes it down and hits it top right corner. An absolute striker's finish, just showing how experienced Michail Antonio is. And Kudos with a nice finish, a lot of power on it, just beats the keeper. The keeper gets a touch, but it's not enough to give them the lead right at the last kick of the first half. Then Bowen's goal, Kudos finds himself on the left, running down, and the defence is nowhere to be seen. The Newcastle defence is nowhere to be seen, and Jarrod Bowen is on his own in the middle, so he plays a ball to him, and Bowen just composed, takes some touches, gets himself ready to shoot and fires it past the keeper. Beautiful finish, beautiful dribble, and just doesn't allow the defender to get a tackle on him. And yeah, just showing how quality he is. What a finish. And then for Isak's second penalty, Calvin Phillips actually giving away this one. Of course, very unintentional by him, but he just took a touch out inside the box, went to clear it, but Isak put himself in between the ball, so Phillips kicked his leg instead, and they get a penalty. And just like the first one, he slots it to the right side of the keeper and starts the comeback for Newcastle. Then Harvey Barnes, 2 goals. His first one, a little ball over the top, and then he takes a touch, puts it in between the keeper's legs. And then the last one in the 90th minute, outside the box, curler finds the side netting. What a finish and what a win for Newcastle. Some late minute drama, goals galore, and you absolutely love to see it. And it was a big game because they were very, very close together in the table. And with the 3 points for Newcastle, now they're only 1 below West Ham in 8th place. And I know West Ham very disappointed to not get the 3 points and hold on or even get a point, because being in front for most of the game, letting it slip late is an absolute killer. They are away at home, but if they did keep the 3 points, they would have been level points with Man United in 6th. But of course, not the case. And Newcastle trying to fight for a European competition spot. And you've got to say for Newcastle, they should be a lot better next season because, of course, their injury list is not the best. They got Wilson out, Joelinton out, Trippier, Lewis Miley, Nick Pope, and Botman, and, of course, Tonali with his suspension. So all massive plays for them. And to be honest, all of them are usual starters. So, of course, has been a tough season for Newcastle, but everyone suffers with injuries, and it's good for Newcastle at least to win this game and keep their chances of European football alive. That is the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed. It was very much just focusing on the games because, there was a lot to get through. Just as usual though, just 10 games. But I suppose I did talk a fair bit about the Liverpool-Brighton game along with Arsenal, Man City, and then just trying to roll through the rest of them. So I hope you enjoyed anyway. Like I said at the start, if you do enjoy this, mate, check out the YouTube channel. There should be some good things happening there. I've got a little idea at the moment too that might be, good. It might start with a V. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, give that a subscribe. Give me a follow, comment, whatever you can do to support the podcast. That would be greatly appreciated. And I should have another episode out pretty soon because, like I said in this episode here, most teams play 9 games this month. So we are going to be firing the podcast episodes out. So stay tuned and see you later.